factual facts when they make a point. Greg watches massage porn, smokes a joint. Mike stole a car, now he's got it made. Fitz sitting proud on his bidet. Now they're both chilling up in the shade, reading funny papers every Sunday. Sunday papers, Sunday papers, Sunday papers, Sunday papers.
Read all about it.
Oh, there he is, little energy from Gibbons. It's the Sunday papers, baby.
Only you get to do that?
Well, I've got the cap on.
I am feeling up, but I woke up in a shit mood and tired. Have you been tired lately?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it the fire? Is it the typical allergies? I deny that I have any allergies. Meanwhile, I snore, whatever. So I thought of you doing you just got a jump start, like when you walked into a party with your hands up or whatever it is.
Right.
Or people that take a cold plunge.
Yep.
And
or before I have sex, I usually wrestle my wife.
Right, which brings her way down, but you get up, which is great.
And the kids think it's weird.
When they watch?
Yeah. We got a very open floor plan at our house.
Another wrestling event. They're still under the impression it's wrestling.
It is really hard to have sex with the fucking kids around I mean, Owen's gone, but JoJo's like, she is so into being safe because she works at a daycare that she doesn't interact a lot. Although I think our daughters were together last night, weren't they?
I don't think. That's interesting.
That's
interesting. Did we just find a lie?
Oh, yeah.
I watched TV. I watched actually a funny documentary with my daughters last night that's way above them. Did you ever see Too Funny to Fail? The documentary on the Dana Carvey show?
Yes, amazing.
It's the reason they tolerated it is just because especially Steve Carell is figured prominently and is one of the writers, and then Colbert also. But anyway.
And Louis C.K. and Bob Odenkirk.
No, Odenkirk wasn't part of that tribe. He might have helped out a little.
I think he did. And then Charlie Kaufman.
Charlie Kaufman.
Who won an Oscar later.
Dino
Stamatopoulos.
Yep. I mean, it's insane. It's a great documentary. It's free on Hulu. I think it's free on Hulu. And it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And definitely worth watching. Anyway, you should find out where your daughter was. She wasn't here watching the documentary with us.
She was with Sophie at the surf coach's house because it was her daughter's first birthday.
That is correct, sir. Sophie was there and came home around 8.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about a rave till 2.
That's our daughters.
I just had a funny thought. Maybe it's because I've had 2 coffees. I spilled a coffee here in my closet, and I think I should do it more because it's right next to the hamper. What smells better than that? It's a delicious coffee.
Right. It's why when you ship cocaine to somebody, you put a little coffee grounds in there because it throws off the scent. Little tip for the listeners.
So this will turn off a lot of people, but I thought it was such an absurd thought. So my daughter Olivia is cooking in the kitchen, and I was walking by to the fridge and all that, and I kind of was in a playful mood, like, "Hey, what's up?" And of course, the "hey, bah," what's up leads to when you smack a guy in his dick. Like you walk by, you're just like, dink. And I thought, it would be so fucking funny to do that to your daughter. Like, all right. So for the record, I didn't do it. Yeah. But if I saw a fucking dad that fucking put it, like let's say it was in an airport, I would fucking be on the floor dying laughing.
Yeah.
Like a mortified day move, just like your friend would just to avoid it.
Well, Josh Golden's son, Josh would drop him off at school every day, and then the son would walk about 10 steps away and then scream back to the car, "See you later, fucker."
The son would?
Yeah. It was a joke. It was like their running joke.
Right at the most fragile age, like I think it was maybe 8th grade or something, I would drop Sophie off, and then this is when I did it. When she was like, can you drop me off a little further away, like from the drop-off thing? And I'm like, absolutely, honey. I totally get it. I remember that age. And like, yeah, I'll drop you off here. But I was still in the circle, so I would drive up. So then when I did catch up to her, I'd honk and be like, just say the most embarrassing things and then be like, pound sign, cool dad. Like,
and the thing is like, that's such a sitcom dad move, but you got to do it. It's a rite of passage for the kid.
yeah. Oh no. Oh my God. I would just unload. Are you kidding me?
When
Call home if the rash comes up again. I'll pick you up.
Don't kiss anybody. Just me. I'm the only one you kiss, honey.
All right. What do we got?
We got a lot. Holy shit. First of all, we got football season. And if you know how this show works, you know that we are getting ads. Here's one that you'll love. If you like to gamble, maybe you want to start getting into gambling. It's fun.
I do.
And drinking. Maybe you're sober. Start drinking. That's what this show is all about. Winning season with My Bookie. It's a program where they'll double your first investment up to $1,000. Literally, you deposit $1,000 in your account to gamble. They then match it, which sounds insane, but somehow they're doing it.
Well, they gave money to us. What's more insane than that?
I know, right? They clearly are not good with cash.
These people hate money.
They got super contests, squares. At MyBookie, it's time to celebrate the NFL season with some extra cash in your pocket. There's a super contest, which is basically you pick 5 NFL games against the spread each week, and you have a chance to win $100,000 in guaranteed cash prizes. Best part, MyBookie has thousands of bets to choose from all over the full NFL slate, NBA playoffs, live betting to championship futures, every complicated bet, as well as if you're like me and you're a beginner, real simple to just bet on a couple games. Use promo code PAPERS and double your first deposit now. No brainer, people. It's your winning season. It begins today, only at mybookie.com. Make sure you use promo code PAPERS. All right. By the way, we want to thank our friend DJ Flo, DC Flo. Today's song was pretty cool, wasn't it?
That was great. It was like Beck meets Chili Peppers. That was my original take on it.
Yeah, and DC, I think, gave us a song once before, so shout out to him. Also,
Nice.
Benjamin Glazer made this really beautiful logo for us this week. It's one of the more artistic ones I've seen.
That's pretty straightforward good.
Yeah, I mean, if we were ever to lock in on one logo, this might be it.
Can you make your own stamps? Does that exist? I bet it's really close.
Yeah, and you can make your own money. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do now with these 3D printers.
Like that looks like a cool stamp. But could like a grandchild send a letter to grandma and it's her face or it's her graduation photo? That would be a good idea.
I think you can do it like with Easter seals where you like throw the extra stamp on the envelope, but I don't think you can do it for the actual postage.
I don't know why I give away all my best ideas, but okay.
What else you got? Any other ideas lately?
I was working on this garlic scented mouthwash. It hit a wall right away, though. It hit.
Well, during COVID, it's a good idea. Keep people the fuck away from you.
Yeah, that is a good point. just keep it in that mask right there.
I think if you use garlic flavored mouthwash and like stick a banana in your jeans just to make it look like you've got a dick, you're going to keep everybody away from you.
All right, here's some ideas I used to, like, whatever. In the writer's room, you just want to avoid work, so you shoot the shit in the morning. I remember one I used to talk about when Tyson retired. I was like, listen, this is it. Pay-per-view, incredibly illegal. You'd have to hack into but it would be like off the coast somewhere in Asia, Mike Tyson versus a grizzly bear. But the grizzly bear has a muzzle on and like mittens or something. And then I went to a great white shark. Apparently... And I was half kidding, but I was also like, just $1 a person, and you'd make what, 30 million, 40 million? Anyway, who wouldn't pay $1 to see Mike Tyson in a cage with a grizzly bear? So, and of course, the funny thing is everyone would think it would be mean to animals, not including Tyson. Right. So, But I guess Tyson just fought a shark. Did you on Shark Week?
No, really?
I am not making that up. I think I saw that headline somewhere. I'm not kidding.
Did he bite his fin off?
The other idea I had was people are putting so much apparatus on, like to sleep. I mean, they need a sound machine. They need an eye mask.
The apnea machine.
An apnea machine. And I'm like, we should develop a sleep helmet. It's not sexy. I get it. Also, people are putting things in their teeth now, like Invisalign. Maybe that's part of it. Or like to stop snoring, whatever projects the jaw, whatever.
You
but
could
a
also
sleep
put,
helmet,
you could put like ocean wave noises inside of it.
It's not bad with an alarm.
Dude, when I go to sleep, I call it a mini suicide because I put on an eye mask, I put in earplugs, and I listen to audiobooks. I have the mouth guard. I put a pillow on top of my head. I put a pillow between my legs. There's a lot of prep work that goes into it.
All while wrestling Erin in front of the kids.
First, I throw a move on her, which is really just more like it's like a dog that's been fixed, dry humping your leg. He doesn't mean it. It just kind of feels reassuring and familiar.
Well, that reminds me. I thought I had a funny joke. I wrote it down somewhere, of course, which means I'll never see it again. But I thought it would be like, "Hey, did you guys have sex last night?" Like it was like, "Hey, how'd it go last night?" I'm like, "A lot of dry humping." It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No. We had intercourse."
I don't get it.
She's pretty dry. It would be your intercourse is dry humping. Never mind. Maybe I won't find that napkin it's written on.
Have you seen the wet ass pussy video?
Yes, I have.
Unbelievable. I fucking love it. It's so funny.
Yeah. My girls loved it, which is disturbing.
Yes, that is disturbing. And it is like, I just love that there's a lot of strong black females that are calling that this is like a feminist anthem for them, that they think it's powerful because like men usually sing this way and now women are, but it's like, no, it's just some nasty pussy shit.
Yeah, I had two problems. Well, one is, you idolize, especially when you're young and impressionable. We wanted to be just as cool as insert whatever, especially black artists and black athletes, like when we were young. And so now my daughters just want bigger asses and wet pussies. I don't know if that's a great thing. No, but I did listen to the song and my girls defended it, saying exactly what you just said. I'm like, because of how boastful male rappers are. And I was like, I'm like, it doesn't quite add up because the males are doing two things. They're stupidly bragging and boasting like crazy, but they're also bragging about their acumen of making money. And a lot of them are like how rich they are. Look at the car and this. And none of it is, I'm taking this woman's money. That's how I have all this stuff. Like I need someone else to be like this. And this was, and I know I'm overthinking it and spoiling. It's just about wet pussy. Let's face it. And it's great, but there is I'll fuck him for student loans. I'll fuck him to get my car paid, whatever it is.
And my pussy's the size of a 3-car garage, I think is one of the lines.
Well, that I won't criticize. That comes with the territory.
Well, the guy's got to park his Ferrari somewhere when he's dropping by to give you your fucking rent money.
I wish they had just added a layer of, because they're fucking killing it. They're great businesswomen. I just wish they had added kind of that.
Speaking of music, can we talk about the unbelievable job that David Chamberlain, who's done some of our songs for us, he took you, last week it was a joke of you making fun of Van Morrison, who is an anti-masker. And so you kind of riffed this little parody of Brown Eyed Girl. And then David Chamberlain got into his studio. Well, just listen to it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Here's Gibbs doing Brown Eyed Girl.
Hey, where did masks go? Days when the plagues came. No social distancing, playing a daft game. coughing and a wheezing, hey, spreading and infecting. Hospital ventilator with our hearts is stopping, and you, the 5G girl. The 5G girl. So that was kind of funny.
How fucking insane was that?
I don't believe anything anymore because if you can make me, and listen, I can attempt to sing and it wouldn't be good. Hey, where did we go? I didn't even do that.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, where did we go?
Yeah.
And
right.
That sounded like I wouldn't throw my headphones into, the toilet.
No, I emailed him and I said, how the fuck did you do that? Because I heard you sing it and it wasn't like that.
Thank
He
you.
said I had to slow it down. It involves splitting it up into phrases and moving them into the right places for using musical timing. Then I had to make it into the right melody, which I guess is auto-tuning. He was close to the key of E. The actual song is higher and in G, so I stayed with
I didn't
E.
know that.
So I stayed in E and fucked around with moving pitches using my normal audio pitch correction software. I then added cheesy Casio drums, ukulele, guitar, and bass. I mean...
Okay, why don't we do a challenge for him? I just thought of this.
Yeah.
And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
And
Good luck with that.
Will always love you. I will always love you.
Wet ass pussy. Don't do that one because that's kind of how they say it.
Corrections. Let's do our corrections, Mike. We're not always perfect. We try, but we have ADHD and we're Irish, so the facts are going to get a little fast and loose.
Irish for it, okay.
This is I'm so excited to be part of a correction. The podcast about Action Park, a place I went to in my youth, and every time I visited it was guaranteed to see someone bleeding from their head. Everything was true except your hilarious reaction to their advertisement was actually the advertisement for Raceway Park, where the announcer screamed in a weird high-pitched voice, "Oh, Raceway Park!" I thought it was Action Park. A lot of people sent that in, along with the actual
Did
video.
we do this correction?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, that's a good answer. But by the way, apparently
Somebody
that's
can correct
available on
that
YouTube.
if I have already done this correction.
Did they send a link? I think I recall
Yeah.
where it's on YouTube.
Right.
Oh yeah, I think we did. I'd like to see side by side of what you just did with that. Maybe someone can do that for us. Also, I extended my tax return. If someone could do my taxes, that would be great. I'm kidding. Actually, people would write and offer their professional services.
I need a personal trainer. Did we do the one about apartheid?
Yes.
I think we did that.
No, that's what set me off on Anthony last week.
Oh, that's right. And
By
then
the way, Anthony, love you. You teed it up perfectly. It was all in good fun. Some people thought I was being mean, but it was really humor was the goal. So
that
anyway.
was our video on Instagram this week was you fucking attacking this poor guy.
Oh, stop it.
This guy, Andrew Naitupski, said, this week, Mike confidently exclaimed that the Apple Watch will detect a heart attack and even call paramedics when detected. Mike is confusing two different features. Apple goes to great lengths to tell you that the watch will never detect a heart attack. What he's confusing is an electrocardiogram app you can manually run to detect irregular heartbeat rhythm. It cannot detect a heart attack. Fall detection, which can call emergency services after detecting a hard fall, typically used for elderly people. Lifestyle alert. Remember that?
He's talking. Obviously, I hacked my watch. Yeah, if you're going to get the consumer model, yeah, whatever. You're going to fucking die.
Right.
You got to hack that shit.
Right. You
It
get
calls
the
a
high-end
private
one.
ambulance company. I got it all hooked up.
Mine tells me when I'm going to orgasm.
Really?
I should really put it on my wife because she's the one that's more interested in it than I am.
Oh, I was going to say it tells you you're going to orgasm because it senses your wrist firing back and forth like crazy. It's the most simple feature on an Apple Watch ever.
Right.
How many steps? How many flights of stairs? And how many jacks?
Right. Either the salad dressing is properly shaken up or you're about to blow a hot, thick one.
I was wondering, by the way, does that throw off your step count? Like, really? 18,000 steps today? You didn't leave the house.
And you burned 20,000 calories in such a short walk.
And 3 heart attacks.
And you lost 2 ounces of weight. This one comes from Claire Barnaby Smith. You guys might actually want to do some fact checking again before announcing that Sweden got it so badly wrong with their herd
don't even
immunity
get me started.
approach. She writes, whilst most of Europe has cases rising completely out of control, Sweden's cases are not in the same state.
Thus,
And then I wrote back to her, because I'm a fucking asshole. I go, Sweden and Switzerland are 2 different places? Seriously? And then it got nasty. Then then she wrote me another one. I should have written it down, but it was like, she's not in on the joke that is Sunday Papers.
well, listen, this poor woman, listen, it's a correction, and she's right that it's a complicated issue, but I hope she's not simply pointing to Sweden as an example that they did it like better than we did, because and Fauci actually got in an argument this week. Did you see that on the floor?
No.
And first of all, Sweden, to compare it to America, is apples and oranges. If you compare it to other countries in that region, Sweden actually fares worse.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, but this is the most important part, Sweden had way more societal curbs, I guess you would call it. It wasn't a lockdown, but all the kids were pulled out of school. Like, people are making it seem like Sweden just went about it. And by the way, for a fact, their goal was not herd immunity. It wasn't that at all.
But they had like no restrictions.
Huh?
They had like no restrictions,
No,
right?
that's the misconception. They had limitations on gatherings. All the kids were mandatorily pulled out of school. They had way more restrictions than people think. Nursing homes shut down, like absolutely closed off. I don't have them in front of me. Sweden had way more protocols than you think. What they didn't do was force businesses to close down. That's probably her point. I totally get that. But they're not doing well. And there's so many other factors, like the average amount of people in a household there is like 2.8 compared to like 3.8 here. Like, there's really other big issues.
Plus, and Hitler, let's just say this up front, bad guy. But these people are the master race. They're tall, they're blonde, they're blue-eyed, they're stronger.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, the Constitution is probably
How dare you
fitter.
leave me hanging? That was a fucking premise that you were supposed to make funny so I didn't look like a racist. And instead, you let me drop. Like a guy stage diving at a fucking Soundgarden concert. You just stepped away and you let me hit the ground.
No, Greg has a good point for Greg. Listen, if I've learned anything on this podcast, it's not to correct racists.
That's right. Let's get into, we've got this very cool company that they started out wanting 1 ad. This is their 3rd because people are very excited about their company.
Really?
Yes, TXMQ.
That's not a fake really, by the way, listeners. I did not know this.
Yeah, this is our third week in a row with them. And as you know, we solicit ads from you guys because we feel like we're all part of a group now. This is a cult. These guys, I think they got a crush on us. If you have a business, you've got software. No matter what you do, I mean, we use it, whatever your business. Unless you're a genius, you're going to need somebody to help you with support, with integration, using different systems. Maybe you want to move everything to the cloud. TXMQ's been doing this software stuff for 40 years, which means before there was the internet, they were doing this. They can help you design the perfect system, integrate your different systems, or find technical staff that you may need to help you out. You can trust the people they send your way. They built some cool shit, a system for pharmacy benefits management, a system for medical practice to help rapidly onboard physicians and nurses, and even systems for banks and logistics companies to integrate to government agencies. Get in touch today. Go to TXMQ, spelled txmq.com/Sunday Papers. Check them out. Also,
How is TXMQ spelled again?
T as in tax, X as in axe, M as in... Also, let's talk about, and what the nice thing with these ads is that people give us free samples. And let me tell you something about how fucking lucky I am about this one. There's a company here called Crovel, and they are they do this like crafts people in Portland, Maine. And, you know, stop with the IKEA shit, everybody. Take a little more effort and buy some furniture for your house that's going to be a talking piece, that's going to be something that's going to last forever, that's going to make you feel good having it in your home for literally the same money as you would pay at like IKEA. Crovel makes these mostly are they live on the wall. They are I forget what you call that. Floating furniture. So it's like tables, it's shelves, it's desks that go onto the wall. I mounted it myself. It took me about 20 minutes. And it's all like there's no visible mounting hardware. The grain of the wood wraps around the tops and the sides. And it's like mid-century modern kind of look. Not that I know a lot about furniture, but
these guys are listeners, right? And all of a sudden they heard our call out.
They heard it. They love the show, and they said, as a matter of fact, they build most of their tables while listening to us, Duncan Trussell, and Joe Rogan.
Wow!
So check them out. They also plant a tree for every piece of furniture they sell. And they plant them all in their yard, so it's getting really fucking crowded up at Crovel in Portland, Maine. Solid hardwood, no particle board, no cheap stained pine. I have it I put it in my son's room, and it looks gorgeous. So check them out. Go to Crovel, KROVEL made.com. Crovelmade.com, and check out their stuff. It's a simple site, and you see if you like something. Let us know if you buy it, and send them some love. Okay, it's time. Let's get to the front page, Mike.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Is it time already? What are we at? 27 minutes? 25?
Condoms.
Ooh.
Police in Vietnam have confiscated an estimated 345,000 used condoms, which had been cleaned and resold as new.
What did the Lakers play an exhibition game there? What? Well, how did this happen?
The TV station there showed dozens of large bags containing the used condoms scattered across the floor of a warehouse. Police said the bags held 345,000 condoms. Unknown person owns this warehouse. A woman detained during the bust told police that the used prophylactics were first boiled in water and then dried and reshaped on a wooden phallus before being repackaged and sold. I love it. She was boiling them. That's great. Son comes home from college. Oh, look, mom's making tortellini. Mom, this is a little chewy. Don't leave me hanging, Mike.
I only know wooden phalluses. Hard as wood. All of them. I've never seen a flaccid penis. Is that a weird thing to say? This is...
It must be a small phallus because this is in Vietnam. So you know the rubber wasn't overstretched.
The furniture guys love that. They just went from Rogan to this. They just need more racial humor. Yeah, I don't have any material. I didn't really read this story, but it seems crazy that the structural integrity of don't all condoms say like do not use twice?
Oh yeah.
I mean, for obvious reasons, but like don't, even if you could
Yeah.
in the same session, and now it's been boiled
Yeah.
and put on a piece of wood, repackaged. I mean, there's no way, right?
It's got splinters in it now.
Now,
Splintered for her pleasure.
what was the charge? I'm looking at the story now. Like-
I don't know. I mean, selling used condoms, I think, was the charge.
I think Vietnam has bigger problems than that with
Can
their
I
sex
tell you my
trade also.
favorite condom joke of all time? And I'll credit it to the guy who used to do it. James Lemur, now known as Emir Lemur. He turned Hasidic, I think. I remember the first time I put a condom on, I was screaming my head off. I had no idea it didn't have to cover your balls.
That's very good. I used to have a dumb one, which was, it's so disgusting. Like sometimes in the morning in my backyard, I found used condoms, but the guy was still in it.
That's
But
good.
by the way, do you remember all the, like Central Park, what was that, the Bramble or whatever, but like, or wherever behind dumpsters,
Brambles,
and
yeah.
there would just be used condoms, but there was something charming about, that was the New Yorker in me. There was something charming about it because the reckless behavior of meeting what has to be a stranger. Otherwise, why wouldn't you go to their place or theirs to yours? And to just have anonymous sex out there, but have the wherewithal to put a condom on. Like, I don't know, there was something like, all right, that's not bad. They're making
Right.
an effort.
No, it's like those guys you see who, you ever see those guys, they wear like, they almost look like flying squirrels. They have like wings and they dive into canyons.
Oh,
and
no,
they,
of course. Yeah.
It's like those guys wearing a helmet. That's the equivalent.
Why do you want the tiniest possibility that you'll survive and be a complete invalid, or maybe not even have any body below your neck?
Exactly.
Why do that?
You're right. Squirrels aren't wearing helmets.
I think it's just to hold the GoPro. Yeah, why wear a helmet? You're right. Why do those guys wear a helmet?
It's fucking hilarious.
They're terrifying to watch.
You're right. That is one of the coolest things a GoPro has ever filmed, by the way. We got another story here. This is NASA astronaut Kate Rubin says she plans on voting from space in the upcoming elections. She's going to be leaving in mid-October to go to the International Space Station.
Wait, can I go with her? How many people would like to leave the planet mid-October?
Right.
One way ticket's fine.
I want to find an opium den in like Halloween and stay in there for a week and just come out. Not that we'll even know who won. I really believe that if we're judicious and patient, we'll say, all right, look, we're not going to have a winner November 3rd. It's going to be a week later just so that there's no pressure on it. Let's make sure everything gets counted and keep it honest.
How about this? Could we use Halloween, like set up an official house that receives ballots so every neighborhood can just bring their ballot to that house?
While their kid is collecting candy, you're dropping off your ballot?
I don't know. I mean, everyone tries to combine the efforts. Like, if everyone's doing this anyway, like getting a driver's license, why not register? Whatever, just an idea. But
maybe like you show up in a MAGA hat, but then you vote for Biden.
But wait, before you continue with this story, I lost the thought. Never mind. Continue with your story.
Okay,
what were you saying
so-
about this before? Oh, all these stories I see, and apparently, I think it was some show just won an Emmy, like Apollo, I think. And But all of these, the Challenger documentary is out now. And then if you ever see Apollo 13 and like all these, there's so much time and energy spent keeping the astronauts alive and getting them back. I mean, I honestly think it's over 50% of the effort and even the moon landing. How do you get these guys back? If you removed that, which is what AI is going to do, like we'll send robots up and then we don't give a shit if they come back. They're going to record everything. They're going to get out, walk around. They're going to do everything an astronaut could do. And maybe we'll bring them back because we don't have to worry about pressure, fucking oxygen, food. I mean, it's unbelievable how much that thing is outfitted for humans instead of the desired sort of objective, which is go grab moon rocks, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. And I know they send monkeys up, but wouldn't it be the most badass astronauts in the world, the ones that volunteered not to come back?
Oh, yeah, the Mars astronauts.
Like you'd go down, you'd be a hero.
Yeah.
And maybe you send old astronauts? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, you don't want to send a young astronaut because we need those motherfuckers. They're like literally the most intelligent, durable, disciplined.
They're superheroes.
They're
They really
superheroes. We don't want to lose one of those.
Yeah.
We'll send Buzz Aldrin. Is he still alive?
I think
He'll probably have his blinker on the entire time. Come on, people.
Well, that's what an orbit is, isn't it? It's a constant left turn, just like his signal.
All
right, finish your story, though. She's voting from space.
Well, that's pretty much it. She's going to vote from space. She feels like it's really important for everyone to vote. If we can do it from space, then I believe folks can do it from the ground, too.
Greg, it's been proven that all the ballots from space, it's so easy to corrupt them. It's so easy to pack that number and it's so corruptible.
Yeah, it's like, why,
it's fraudulent.
How do we get this vote cast from Krista McAuliffe?
And what's that Russian satellite doing so close to her sending in her ballot from the space station? What's that doing there?
Yeah, I think that, well, how do you think it would work? I mean, wouldn't people know who she voted for? And we can't have that.
Right. It would be hard for her to vote twice.
Right.
I think she's being closely watched.
Yeah. This one comes, you want to read this story about the priest?
Yeah. Okay. The Reverend Robert Altier delivered a 20-minute sermon on September 6th claiming COVID-19 was concocted in laboratories in the United States and China, and that it was, quote, a lie that tens of thousands of people are dying from it. A YouTube version of the sermon has been viewed more than 412,000 times. He's in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. He argued that the virus was made in a lab, that a 2020 global pandemic preparation exercise revealed previous knowledge of the virus, and that masks caused bacterial infections, and that the death figures were grossly inflated. This is during a Sunday sermon, by the way.
Wow,
the state
that's
health
uplifting.
department, huh?
That's uplifting.
The state, meanwhile, despite all of that being untrue, probably the truest statement said in the sermon for the last 50 years. Anyway, the state health department also rejected his assertion that just 9,200 people have died from the virus. He's close. It's over 200,000 now. The Archdiocese said none of our priests are experts in public health, infectious disease, epidemiology, or I'm not an expert in pronunciation.
You can't even say them.
How would you pronounce it? Immunology?
Immunology.
You just got to run with it there.
Epidemiology. Cosmetology.
So, I'm glad the Archdiocese spoke up because I think the priests and the bishops there also should just stick to the facts they know. Like Noah having 3 sons when he was 500 years old, and then Noah loaded all the animals on earth
all of them.
into one ark.
Yeah.
But wait for it, in one day. Yeah. Also, Adam named every animal on earth. Like these are the scientific facts that they should stick to because that's what they know.
Right.
There's talking trees and talking bushes,
right.
obviously. a guy lived in the belly of a whale for 3 days. We'll skip the virgin birth and the parting of the sea, but stick to those facts. That's what you've been teaching for centuries and killing people over.
Right.
So stick to that, will
Right.
ya?
It starts with the truth. That's the key. And you know what they'll probably do to punish this guy? They're just going to ship him off to another church.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's like he gets to the new place and they're like, what did you do? And he's like, some other guy's like, what did you do? He's like, about like 400 boys. What did you do? Well, I said the virus was a myth. And he's the despicable one?
Right. He killed more people in the end, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
No, exactly.
You know, one guy like systematically killed people from a pandemic. The other guy caused about 30 one-man shows to be launched.
Wait, it sounded like 31. You said 30 one-man shows?
Yeah.
I want to see 31 man shows.
Yeah.
Probably that too.
Yeah, this guy should be punished. I think we should find the sickest, most wheezy old COVID patient and send him into this guy's confession booth. Just have him fucking cough it up for a few minutes.
Right through that screen.
Yeah.
Have you done confession?
What are you kidding me?
No, I know that's an absurd question.
every Saturday for like the first 13 years of my life.
Get this, I've never done confession.
Really?
So I was raised Catholic, but both parents were total hypocrites. My dad was like Christmas and Easter Catholic, and my mom is rational. And so they put me in Iona Grammar School in 7th grade, where I was beaten, by the way, hit in the face. I also have to tell my kids, like, by the way, this was 1980. This was not the freaking 50s. So 7th grade, I was put in Iona Grammar School for the reason that's the year of your first communion. No, confirmation. Confirmation. Now, to experience your first confirmation, you have to give your first confession. So what they did is we put us on a big bus. We went up the Hudson River to some place that the church owned, and then it was a retreat. And then came time for the confession. So I'm getting ready to go to school that day, putting on my tie because we had uniforms. And my mom's like, listen, I want to tell you something. This is well-intentioned parenting where it didn't go great. I want to tell you something before you go away on this. She's like, if you feel you have done nothing wrong, and I'm like, I have. She's like, no. I'm not talking about little stuff. She's like, I don't think you should confess. If you don't want to, I don't think you should confess. If you really, she's like, you're such a good kid. Yeah, sure, you talk out in class and have discipline problems, but if you haven't done anything wrong, that's the big problem with the church is that there's just a presumption you're born in sin. Your babies are dirty.
Original sin, yeah.
They're dirty and they have to be cleansed. That's what a baptism is. Meanwhile, I'm just eating like Eggo waffles listening to this. So I go, get on the bus, we go on the retreat. Comes time, a whole thing, indoctrination, crazy brainwashing. Then it's like, now it's time for everybody's confession. And everyone gets up and leaves, and I'm just sitting there on the pew, not moving. And then the brother comes up to me, Brother McDonald, and he's like, is there a problem? And I'm like, I really feel like I don't need to confess. I don't feel I've done anything wrong. And he's like, you? Because I was a problem in school and I had a problem with authority. And so I'm like, yeah, well, what a fucking idiot. I got beaten because of that. But my mom had loaded me. You can't load a 7th grader with all this. It's almost as bad as the church loading you with ideas. Anyway, I was beaten and still refused to go into the confessional.
You're like the opposite of a martyr.
Yeah, you're right. I lived for your sins.
No, I think that confessing is actually like a really healthy emotional experience because, if you look at, what's therapy? What's, the Jews have Rosh Hashanah. Is it Rosh Hashanah? That's this Monday?
No, they have all the media. Is that what you meant?
So, no, I'm all for it. I used to confess when I was a kid, and I felt light as air when I came out. I think it's important to tell your the things that are weighing heavy on your mind. I mean, if you really had nothing weighing on your mind, then good for you. But for most people, and maybe that guilt that I'd been bad came from the church in the first place. So it's almost like the first hit's free, and then they keep you coming back to confess. But I liked it.
I agree with you, but then couldn't there be a professional therapist? Maybe that you do that. And I'm not even trying to be funny. The other thing is, I agree, maybe in its original form, it was a cool thing, but it's so funny now watching The Vow, which I know you've watched The Vow and we'll talk about in a little bit. The Vow is about that cult in Albany. And one of the most shocking things was you had to give the cult collateral. You had to tell them deep, 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 dark secrets.
Well, like Scientology does this too.
So did you to the Catholic priest. You just didn't realize it.
Right.
And I think back then when there was a little village and you went in and the guy's like, whatever it is, I like to beat dogs. Whatever back in Sicily, let's say, that priest had that on that guy.
No, in Ireland, they had this thing, and this was, there's this great book called Trinity by Leon Uris about Ireland.
That was a legendary book.
Legendary book. And in it, it shows that in the small town they lived, I think in Connemara, they would go in and you would confess to the priest, and then the priest, based on what you said, would make the men stand across the street from the church for a week, could be 2 weeks, depending on what you confessed. You would have to be, that was your penance. So everybody on their way into church could see who fucked up, who was standing over to the left.
With a little sign.
Yeah,
Wife beater.
Right.
But the famous story is people go in and they make up, they don't have something.
Yeah.
And they make up like, I cursed, or, you make up something rather trivial.
Well, Brian Kiley has a great joke. What am I?
Oh, he's funny.
What am I, quoting comics all day?
Why not?
And what am I, doing Andy Kindler's joke structure?
Who are these people quoting comics?
And he says, my son just made his first confession. Took the cops 3 hours to break him, but he finally talked.
At least they do it physically instead of psychologically like the priests.
All right, let's get to the cats, Mike.
The priest should be confessing. It should be a two-way channel in that goddamn dark booth.
Yeah, I think every confession that you finish should then be followed by, you think that's bad.
Young Michael, I've been waiting patiently for the boy fucking part of your confession. So I guess I take over at this point.
I have to confess, I've been jerking off this whole time.
Why do we always go Irish? Michael, why don't we do Italian priest?
Yeah.
We always fucking hit the Irish.
Yeah. They're all Spanish now. They're all from Latin America now because they can't get... There's no American priests, and there's very few Irish priests now. Ireland's done with Catholicism.
Well, we have a Latino pope, right?
That's right.
And he considers all the people on earth his children, which is about the average for a Latino man. That's how many children they have. His brother even has more. And he fits them all into his car. Okay, moving on.
This is not the new brand of comedy that's out there, Mike.
Are we canceled? Why don't we call our
cats?
Our podcast? Why don't we just name it Cancel Culture? I only put this story in here because I loved one phrase that was in the story. But I will also mention we talked last week about the news story of putting the AI chips in pigs.
Right.
And I said I wouldn't be impressed till you could put an AI chip in a cat because they're so useless. Boy, the phrase "don't fuck with cats," we got letters from people. So for the record, I just want to say I actually was a dog person my whole life. I see the value of cats now. There's a very calming effect of them. And they are very low maintenance, way lower maintenance than a dog. You don't have to rush home from dinner because you forgot to feed the dog or walk it. So I like cats. This is a sad cat story, however. Nearly 60 cats were rescued from a Sandy Springs condo. I think that's in Georgia.
Atlanta.
Yeah. And 15 were found dead in the freezer. Sandy Springs police said they worked more than 6 hours on the scene, recovering 59 cats. Oh, you see, it's not that bad. And attempting to rescue more inside the home and in the parking lot. Some were found inside the walls of the condo, he said.
Boy.
The homeowner lives alone and told officers that he's at a difficult stage in his life and, quote, the cat situation got out of control. Like, I just see him standing there like, no, you got me. Yeah. If I step back, I can see it did get out of control. You mean, what, the 59 cats? Or have you seen your freezer?
Yeah, right. Now, I felt really, when I had 30, it really felt like, all right, this is normal.
I mean, by the way, the freezer, those cats, that cat situation was very in control. Why all of a sudden is he a neat freak freezing his dead cats?
Right. Well, yeah, no, the ones in the wall, that was out of control. Although great insulation with all that fur.
Yeah.
Better than asbestos.
And you could tell it like to move to the cold parts. If there's a draft, like scratch the wall with a little bell or something. Have the kitties congregate in that area.
Well, maybe, Ellen loves to rescue. She needs some redemption right now. Maybe she'll rescue the remaining cats. She loves pussies.
Oh,
that was cheap. And we will not edit it out. Let's go to
Cancel
international.
culture. All right.
Korea. Aglio Kim, a trolley-like robot which uses AI, is delivering food to customers at a restaurant in Seoul in order to minimize human contact and help ensure social distancing. Customers hit a touch screen on the table, and a 3-foot-tall robot brings the food and uses simultaneous localization and mapping capabilities to avoid obstacles and navigate around customers, including the ones that are probably fucking waving frantically like, can I get some more coffee? They can deliver food up to 4 tables at once.
And that's the average height of a Korean waiter, right? 3 feet?
That's right.
Is that why they designed it?
Yeah, they're flagging him down. Hey, big guy. The big question is, can Kim Jong-un fuck it? Because I think if you wait on him, you generally get... although this is Seoul. Seoul is South Korea, right? Yeah.
Still, he has big ideas. He's going to be taking them over. Do you have to tip?
I mean, what do you tip a robot?
13%. I'm thinking.
I think at least because when they turn on you, you want to be the guy that was generous.
I hope the robot's good at math so he can figure out that he wants me to tip on tax, that motherfucker. You don't do that. When you do the little suggested tip, it's not 20% of the total with tax. I'm also not going to tip 20% on a bottle of wine.
And if it's a female robot, it will know that you checked out its ass as it walked away.
Yeah,
who doesn't do that
hey,
with
Toots,
a waitress?
Hey, Toots, how about topping off this coffee? Yes, sir. That's my robotic female Korean voice.
Yeah.
By the way, what does Kim mean in They even gave the robot a last name, Kim. It might mean something like son.
In Asian cultures, isn't the second word actually the first name?
I have had enough in this podcast. It's been racist enough, and now you're calling a whole culture backwards. I don't like it. Can we get back to Latinos having
similar
so many
story?
kids?
Similar story.
Ready?
Yeah.
I will keep talking about this. We talked about it many Sundays ago, But this robot dog is at it again. There's video of the Boston Dynamics Spot robot dog. I don't know why Spot's in there, but Boston Dynamics has this robot dog apparently wandering a city street on its own, and someone recorded it and put it on Twitter, and it struck terror in the hearts of social media users. Greg's now this is the difference between AI and a human. Watch Greg try to play video of AI. Nice desktop.
Yeah, you can read all of my little projects I'm not completing.
I think we should.
Can you see it?
Asian foot file. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Audio. Do it again with you have to unplug your headphones.
Oh, all right. Hold on.
Because the people decide to take a friendly approach after being freaked out.
All right, here we go.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello, friend. Oh my god. I love you. Jesus Christ. I love you so much.
Dude.
Oh my god.
I love that they're from Boston. It's like, oh my god, bro.
It's artificial intelligence. It's fucking artificial intelligence.
Dude,
if you saw that.
Dude, let's get it high.
If you saw that on a dark sidewalk,
Yeah.
I would have, and I think it took a photo of them, by the way. People were chiming in that it was taking a photo of them. That's what that flashing was.
Right.
But of course, everyone brought up this Black Mirror episode, Metalhead. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, you should see it. It's very disturbing. It's basically AI has decided to wipe out humans because we are the problem on Earth, and there's just no escaping these dogs. There's just no escaping them.
Right.
And it was really, and of course, it's Fahrenheit 451, which I always talk about, the mechanical hounds. I mean, Bradbury saw this so far away. But when I was looking at that video, someone also said, this is like Slaughterbots. And there was a YouTube link. So I went to the YouTube link of Slaughterbots. So I guess it's a movie, but oh my God, that's terrifying too. Like the AI thing is limitless. Slaughterbots were these little drones you could hold in your hand. And they had all the technology of face recognition and everything like that. And you could just throw it out there. But it could be programmed, kill Greg Fitzsimmons, and it then flies right into your head and unleashes this. It is packed with one bullet and it kills you. And these can be dropped out of planes by thousands. It's obviously fiction, but holy crap. I mean, it's just like the mechanical hound. Eventually that fiction is going to play out, I think.
Well, how is it a fiction? We're doing it in the Middle East. We're dropping drones.
Right.
And the drones are being launched from a fucking bunker in like Arizona. The people that actually pull the trigger and assassinate possibly innocent people on the opposite side of the planet are sitting in a bunker like they're playing a video game.
So, but that dog, man, sure, it's armed with a camera now. But, that's the dog that they say will go in, like when there's any sort of hostage situation or like AI. Or how about this? God, I don't even want to bring the topic up. It's so volatile. But like, maybe, I'm trying to spin it positive. Let's say the Breonna Taylor case. You send the robot dog in there.
Right.
No shots fired into the house.
Yeah.
Even if shot at.
Right.
It goes in there, it turns on a giant light, it films it, the police can communicate through it, so it's a talking AI dog.
Right.
It holds them at gunpoint, maybe? Or pulls out knives. No, it probably has pellets that would put them to sleep.
You could taser somebody.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
or
it's a good
it just
point.
releases gas. Like it drops a little egg and all of a sudden there's gas. Meanwhile, these are the lamest attempts at me fantasizing about AI. Like it would be way more advanced than that. Anyway.
All right, I lost my place. Sorry if I was a little distant on that one. Let's go to entertainment. This is Mike's favorite category. Because he's a big-time Hollywood
I don't know.
producer.
It's either this or the racist Latino section. Maybe entertainment. Let's go with entertainment. All right, you put in there My Octopus Teacher.
All right, we asked people last week the homework assignment for the entertainment section. As you know, every week we review a movie or a TV show. This was a documentary called My Octopus Teacher, which a bunch of you watched. We got some emails from people. Dan Cholden said, good recommendation. Weird, but really good. I will never eat octopus again, which is...
Neither will I.
Exact reaction I had when I watched it.
Listen, poor cows. I'm eating the shit out of cows and chickens, so I don't know. What this taught you is you don't know about the animal. You don't know everything about the animal.
Yeah.
Taught is appropriate word. It's My Octopus Teacher. Did you get the feeling a few times, though, that this documentary could have been called My Octopus Lover?
Oh, so weird. So weird. I mean, basically in it, there's a guy who's South African, and he's apparently like a very successful documentary, like nature documentary filmmaker who burns out, and he decides that he's going to reconnect to his son, who's about 10, and he ends up stumbling into this like kelp bed in the western coast of Cape Town in South Africa, and he finds an octopus and he becomes fascinated with it and like falls in love with it.
He said that. He literally fell in love with it. Her kept saying that. Like I think he said I realized I loved her.
Yeah, and so he would go in there every single day. And first of all, I've been in the water in Cape Town. Do you know how far I went into the water in Cape Town? My fucking ankle.
Right.
And then I had sharp spears going through the bottom of my foot. That's how cold the water is in Cape Town. This lunatic would go in the water every single day with no wetsuit, and he'd stay in the water for, I don't know, an hour. He never really said, but I don't know how he lasted in that water year round, like during their winter, which is August.
Well, people will write us who maybe do cold plunges. As he pointed out, he had to explain it because he gave a Celsius, but I then looked it up and it was like the high 40s.
Yeah.
And at some parts of the year. And he did say, though, that your body adjusts. It gets easier.
Yeah.
To do that.
I do hear if you want to feel alive, cold water is like if you want to get shit done in your life, take a cold water plunge in the morning because it puts you into a state, and Joe Rogan was talking about this on his podcast this week. It puts you into a state of urgency that, I mean, think about when you've got a deadline, when you're working on a TV show and you're in production and you're going to shoot in an hour and something comes up that needs to get done, you get that shit done and you do it well. Mm-hmm. So how do you create that sense of urgency? Jump in cold water and then start working.
That's why I avoid it. And that's what hasn't worked for me, and I'm going to stick to it.
Unless the thing you're trying to do is have sex, then do not plunge in the cold water.
Well, think about this octopus, 8 hand jobs. And it feels like strange. It almost feels like you're cheating on the octopus when you get a hand job from a new arm.
Yeah.
This guy, of course he was in love.
Meanwhile, it's like, hey, asshole's getting a little lonely back here. I know you got 7 extras. Let's work the back door there. I'm fucking plunging myself in 40-degree water for you. How about a nipple rub?
By the way, it is great to watch with your kids, except know that there are, 2 pretty sad parts that people have gotten emotional on. But I guess I would compare it to any Disney movies and any of those classic animated Disney movies where the moms die all the time.
Right.
And they tell you up front that octopus only live about a year, which is amazing to me. That's another reason.
Yeah.
I won't eat octopus again. I don't want to create that demand.
Yeah.
It's so hypocritical. Meanwhile, all I'm doing is putting a demand on mass-produced corporate chickens.
By the way, I watched Deconstructing Harry, the DVD that you gave me. Or you gave to Josh, and then I got it from Josh.
So a little setup. Woody Allen, all the stuff goes down in his life, being accused of being a pedophile and raping, maybe also, obviously, his son. And
no, they went out on a date first. I mean,
and it's in the courts. This movie comes out at that time. It's called Deconstructing Harry. He wrote it, directed it, stars in it. And I went to see it in the theater because I'm like, I can separate, first of all, innocent till proven guilty. Full disclosure, I worship Woody Allen comedically. So I can separate the man from the artist. Turns out I couldn't. He is such an open book artistically. Like, when Manhattan, he's talking about being attracted to young women. He's plays a complete barbaric asshole who just wrecks people because of his id and his
narcissism.
Yeah. And so I was like, God, it's just too spot on. Cut to 10 years later, I happened upon it on TV. It's a joke machine. And more importantly, it has absurd sketches in there that are of the Monty Python Mr. Show caliber. And I loved it. So I just tried to find it because I was telling you guys about it. You can't find it anywhere. I bought it on eBay for like $25 and not at all because it's a collector's item. It's just, you can't find it.
Do you think Woody Allen killed it?
He shouldn't, man. I'm wondering if there's been a movie since that had as many jokes.
Well, I watched it, and partly I had the reaction that you first did. I really felt like this protagonist is so loathsome. He's such a narcissist. It's one thing if a guy has a tragic flaw, but then there's something redeeming, so you're still pulling for him in the movie. This guy, I didn't give a fuck about him. And I also, and this is going to sound anti-Semitic, but I don't like movies or TV shows, including Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, that make such a meal out of Jewish culture that they can't go 3 lines without somebody saying Jew or Jewish or referencing something about it. It's way over the top.
He slammed Jews.
I know, but he's talking about them, and the wife is defending them, and he's slamming them, and there's Jewish references to the holidays, and by the way, it's Yom Kippur is the holiday on Monday, not Rosh Hashanah, where you get forgiven. That was my one thing that irritates me. I've just seen it too many times. I've seen Jewish writers lean on it to the point where
Jon Stewart goes there way too often.
Yeah.
I'm just a Jew. I'm just a helpless, I'm just a pathetic Jew. Like, it's like,
right.
Okay, got it.
And then I gotta say, and let's say it's a fucking great movie.
It really is.
The writing, the structure, the fact that there's like different epics of his life happening with 2 sets of actors at the same time. The cast is insane. And you know who steals the show to me? Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley destroyed me.
Destroys. That scene where she is yelling at him with a patient in her office is one of the funniest in any of his movies.
By the way, try to find these scenes on YouTube, maybe. The Kirstie Alley, it's his wife who has her office in their apartment. She's married to Woody Allen, and Woody Allen slept with her patient who was early 20s or something.
23.
'Cause who he chat, and then the conversation between them, it's like, you slept with my fucking patient. He's like, well, I don't, where am I supposed to meet women?
Yeah. He's like, since you had the baby and you work out of the house, we don't have a social life. Where else am I going to meet people?
So you're blaming me for not meeting women on the like.
Yeah.
And her voice, which sounds like mine, screaming when she had her patient and she was screaming.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a scene which is one of the most absurd, perfectly executed sketches, I'll call it ever. The old couple where there are rumors that he killed people, and it's an old Jewish couple.
Right.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And then what about Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah, and the weirdest concept is that he's become blurry. And
he's an actor.
Blurry. He's literally blurry.
He's an
in all
actor
the
and he's on
scenes.
set. And they're like, oh, he's blurry. And they try adjusting the camera. They keep adjusting the camera. And they're like, no, it's him.
Yeah.
And they all walk around him and he's like fuzzy.
Yeah.
He's out of focus. He lost his focus.
I gotta say, there's a lot of beautiful women in it, including Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who was so cute back then.
Louie, you've been corrected on this. Louie.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But Elizabeth Shue is so ethereal. Her beauty, her golden locks. I mean, she is just, and I know her. She actually lives in my neighborhood.
Right.
But I mean, oh my God, she's stunning.
Well, that was the point. He was trying to show someone that just reeked of youth and innocence.
Yeah.
And, Woody Allen has obviously read all the Russian novels, and you have to set up, you have to relate to the attraction of the protagonist, whether it's To Killing a Neighbor, if it's Dostoevsky, which, by the way, Woody Allen did in Crimes and, was it Crimes and Misdemeanors?
Yeah.
That was exactly or
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment. So you had to relate to, she's really young, like she was in her mid-20s or whatever it was, and he was older, but you have to relate to. Anyway, we've talked a lot about Deconstructing Harry. Hey, I saw another one. You want to talk about The Social Dilemma next week?
Let's do that next week.
Also, next week, let's talk about Ted Lasso. I did not expect to like it. It's kind of my favorite show right now.
Should that be the assignment for next Sunday? Or should it be Social Construct?
Jason Sudeikis, that's his name, right? Ted Lasso is on HBO. And the premise, you'll be like, no, thanks. It's a American coach, which really has nothing to do with it being, he went over to England, was hired to coach soccer. He knows nothing about soccer. So already I'm like, that's pretty broad and gimmicky. It's not at all. It feels like a movie, but it's a half-hour TV show. And it's also feel good. He
all right,
plays
Ted Lasso. Watch it this week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week. Let's get to sports.
Okay. There it is. So in Tampa Bay, a neighbor heard screaming from the next apartment of shoot, called the police. Police shows up. It turns out it's just the Tampa Bay Lightning fan screaming shoot at the top of his lungs over and over again.
At the Stanley Cup Finals.
At the Stanley Cup Finals. And they're playing Dallas. So thank God he didn't get shot. That's my only thinking on that one. There was no robot dog to go in there.
Yeah.
He could have easily been shot.
Also, I got to be careful because that could be me alone in my office screaming at my penis.
You have to tell it to shoot?
I have to. It's an audible.
Are you sure
anything that can help at this point?
Are you sure you're not screaming dribble?
Stand up straight.
I mean, the neighbors, he must have been yelling shoot like for how inept do you think this guy with the gun is?
Yeah.
And who's he yelling shoot at in his apartment?
Yeah.
None of it makes sense.
Right. Tampa Bay, speaking of which, our bet, we're how many bets have we had? Just one so far, right? You and I have a standing bet this season.
We started last week. We're going to bet $50 a week, which sounds like rich terrain, but the idea was because we're playing it with the spread, technically it should be around 50-50, meaning if there's an odd number of games, one of us would owe the other $50 when all is said and done. But you didn't listen or watch or pathetically get visual updates on a sports tracker, like on the NFL.com or whatever the hell I was doing with my phone, which you just have to say like play in progress and just wait to see what it says happened.
Yeah.
So I did that. This game was a crazy nail biter, but only for us. In fact, it's one of those where
Because of the point spread.
yeah, it's like one of those like where you're in Vegas and a guy throws up a three just to end the game, a meaningless. He throws it from half court and it goes in and like $50 million exchanges hands because that meaningless basket went in. So it came down, no joke, to the last second.
No shit.
There was 90 seconds left and they scored. First of all, Carolina at the end of the game just would drive down the field for 3 times in a row, I think it was. They drove all the way down. There was 90 seconds left, and they had a decision. Should we go? Because it was a 2-score game. They needed to get a touchdown and a field goal. So I thought, oh, man, this is good how it's going to end. They're going to go for a touchdown, obviously, and you're going to win. Anyway, this is already a long story. They went for a field goal. Now I'm up, though, because it cut the lead to 7. Sorry, they were at 10.
And the spread was 8.5, right?
8.5. They were down by 10. They drive all the way down and they score a field goal, which is all I needed. So now I'm winning with like 90 seconds left. They do an onside kick. Tampa Bay gets it. First play, handoff, touchdown. Now the score differential is 14 points. There's like 120 left or something. They get the ball, Carolina, march all the way down the field to the 4-yard line. All I need is a field goal, which obviously they wouldn't do. They would try to get it in for a touchdown, do another onside, and time runs out.
Oh, I won. That's $50. Will you want to Venmo me?
And it looked like nothing because Tampa Bay won by 10. Like no one was even watching the last 10 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
Except me updating a stupid iPhone.
I'm telling you, the reason I like Tampa Bay is, obviously we've got Brady down there. We've got Gronkowski. They're only going to get better as the season goes on. But the point spread will change and adjust to it. But you're down $50 this week. It is the Denver Broncos in Denver. And Tampa Bay is still like a 6-point favorite. I think
we'll just do it at
favorite.
game. What we do is go to game time just to keep it fair, whatever the spread is then.
Right. Okay.
And I'm shorting, just like I decided to short the market last Friday and had a very good week. I am shorting Tampa Bay all season.
Speaking of the Patriots, Kraft, their owner, got a hand job from a prostitute. I think a blow job, actually. There was a video.
Allegedly, Greg.
2 weeks in a row, he went to this place, the Happy Orchard. I forget what it's called. Those places always have the same name. There's always feet in it, like Happy
Orchard.
Feet, Flower Orchard, Happy Garden. And he was at the Happy Orchard Garden Feet place. And he got his dick sucked for a couple weeks in a row, according to the video. Not according to the video footage, which never got out.
Well, this is the proper way to phrase it. His alleged sex acts were on video.
Yes.
They are on video.
Yeah.
The alleged sex acts.
Right. And so
he got a team of lawyers.
Yep.
Very sophisticated, good lawyers.
Well, he's worth like $8 billion, so I'm sure he got decent lawyers.
Because it went up. They went to very, very big issues. And not only that, it has resulted in counter lawsuits, I believe, and had all the judges agreed. And apparently he's right. They overstepped the video surveillance, and it was declared inadmissible.
Yeah, because it didn't respect, what do you call it? Presumed innocence. I think so. For anybody that was going in to get a regular massage, it would be a violation of their presumed innocence that they're being videotaped by hidden cameras.
And here's the worst part, that the NFL, which is trying to, adopt all these new policies of like zero tolerance for bad behavior, consequences and punishment for any sort of bad behavior, they were going to review, and they are going to review still. And they're like, we will do a review of this when all the facts come in and we are going to treat this very seriously, says Roger Goodell. Well, there may not even be any inquiry into this issue because those tapes now essentially don't exist.
Right. Well,
they can't even possess them to look at them because possession of the tapes would be a crime.
Well, as I'm sure the New York Post said, happy ending for Robert Kraft.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
That's great. I wonder if they did that.
I'm going to send it into the, I'm sure they said it. I would bet anything that was the headline in the Post.
Kraft comes on his stomach over great news.
Human trafficking takes a loss this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Kraft with the upper hand on Handjobgate.
Happy feet. Let's do some science, Mike, before we run out of time.
Something with a hard case. Go ahead.
IBS. Everybody talks about IBS. Big issue these days. Irritable bowel syndrome. Molecules from the venom of one of the world's largest spiders could help University of Queensland-led researchers tailor pain blockers for people with irritable bowel syndrome. Researchers screened 28 spiders with the venom of the Venezuelan pinkfoot Goliath tarantula. How'd you like to get bit by that motherfucker? Which has a leg span of up to 30 centimeters.
Jesus.
How big is 30 centimeters?
I'm going to look that up while you talk, but it sounds like the alien head grab capability. Go ahead.
You would think the opposite.
Why don't we use metrics?
If I was bit, this is the opposite. If I was bit by a tarantula, I would shit my pants.
It's a foot.
No shit.
By the way, it's so goddamn stupid that we don't use the metric system.
Yes.
How dumb. It's based on tens.
Yep.
Water freezes at 0.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Although we do have a foot is the size of my foot. Exactly. My foot is a foot.
Hey, by the way, did I get that wrong? Is Celsius considered metric?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just
0 is freezing, 100 is boiling.
No, I know, but is that considered the metric system where with centimeters, meters?
Yes.
100 centimeters in a meter?
Yeah.
And then there's hours. Oh, how many inches in a foot? Well, obviously 10. No, we're going to go with 12.
Yeah.
It's so easy to add up when you have 11 of them. You know,
right.
It's just, the math just flows out of your head.
Yeah. I know I think we made an effort in like the 70s to go metric, and people were like, nah.
Freedom fries. Who wants this? The French, the fucking French, they're going to take away our freedom?
Right.
My mask that I don't wear is 6 inches, not centimeters.
It's like our language. I think our language has got the most exceptions. It's one of the hardest languages in the world to learn. And then they say like in Chinese, numbers have like a logic to them that it's not a description of a concept. It's it's numerical. The letters themselves are numeric. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, you're right. Like 8, the number 8 is Kung Pao chicken. It means something more. This might be our most racist podcast.
That's how you save me, though. I go down a fucking road, it's a dead end, and then you come in and actually fucking throw me a bone for a change.
Throw you a bone? I then have to take on the racist role to your racist premise. Oh, they're good with numbers? I got it, Greg.
No. Somebody's going to correct us on this and illuminate how it is that the Chinese numerical system is more logical than ours.
Okay, some comedian, you might know who this is. I don't. I was just a comedy fan, but I remember seeing it once, and he goes, have you ever seen, they give you the bill when you get your bill in a Chinese restaurant, and all the orders are in Chinese writing. So it's like, how can you check that that's what you've gotten or argue the bill? It's like you're at a table full of people like, who ordered the house falling down?
Yeah. Who got the dog with a hat?
Oh, I wish I could attribute it. I don't know who said it.
Yeah, I know the bit exactly, and I can't remember. Was it Kevin Brennan?
I don't know.
No, that's kind of clever. That's kind of clever for Kevin Brennan.
It might be a little clever. Also, I would have heard him say it 50 million times because he's sticking to the same jokes from the 90s.
Hey, they work. That's his tool belt.
About women getting distracted before their orgasm.
Yeah.
How many times have I seen him do that bit?
Yeah.
What do we got? 9/11?
9/11. You want to read this one?
Yeah, you found this story, but because you're so convinced 9/11's a hoax. According to a theory advanced by a Syntef materials scientist, a mixture of water from sprinkler systems and molten aluminum from the melted aircraft hulls created explosions that led to the collapse of the Twin Towers in Manhattan. Just before the two New York skyscrapers collapsed on September 11th. Is that when it was? I thought it was the 15th.
No,
Anyway.
you never forget, Mike.
Sorry. The powerful explosions within the building could be heard, leading many to believe that overheated steel beams in the building were not the cause of the collapse. The explosions fed the conspiracy theories, which there were many, that someone had placed explosives inside the towers. And they believe now this is, I'm going to try to shorten this, that this guy ran an experiment, and I guess he did the specs on it, and that aluminum, molten aluminum, when it hits water, does in fact have violent explosions. So that could be the answer for the explosions. But you pointed out that I got the answer.
Your Uncle John.
So my Uncle John, God bless him, he passed away like 3 years ago.
Character, one of the great characters of
Unbelievable.
New York.
From the Bronx. Really
friends
never
of
left.
my dad growing up.
Yep, friend of your dad's. Still said bathroom, had the greatest Bronx accent, lived and died in the Bronx, and he was a steam fitter. He joined a union that his father was in and became a welder. So anyway, he was one of the welders on the Twin Towers. So when this conspiracy theory came up, it was really widespread. I remember like Bill Maher was dealing with it every week and stuff. And so people put online, and there was one YouTube which did it very concisely, and I think it was with MIT engineers, that basically they showed the equation at what temperature can all the girders and all the metal melt in the Trade Center, and could the airplane fuel get that hot? And this calculation proved for a fact that there is no way airplane fuel can achieve the temperature necessary to melt the metal inside the trade centers. And that's what paved the way for that's where the explosions took over. So anyway, Uncle John's up for Christmas, and I find this thing, and I'm like, John, you welded. I mean, you did those steel girders in the Trade Center. And I handed him the laptop, and it was kind of like trying to teach a bear how to ride him like a bicycle. He took the laptop. He's not a laptop guy. I give him the headphones. And anyway, I had to press play for him. So here's Uncle John on the couch, still eating bowls and nuts that are around for Christmas. And he's watching it, and occasionally he's like, and it gets to the end. And of course, he forgets to take off the headset. He hands it back to me. It rips it out of his ears. And I'm like, so what did you think? And he's like, well, are you expecting me to argue with this Harvard guy? And I'm like, well, no, but what do you think of the theory? He's like, I think he's absolutely right. And I had a holy shit moment. I'm like, oh my God. So you so this conspiracy theory that's saying like that, so it's unexplainable? And he's like, oh, no, it's very explainable. He's like, all of the stats that the Harvard guy used were based on the assumption that the building was built to code. He's like, it was built far from code. He goes, the mafia controlled not only construction in 1970s New York, but also the steel. The steel, apparently much of it wasn't American. There's probably people maybe we'll get letters next week saying it was. But he told me he was often instructed to skip rivets, maybe do half as many. You would save half the budget on the amount of rivets. And he saw the way it was being built, and he's like, that building wasn't built close to code.
And the steel wasn't as good quality as they thought.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
So I think it's a combo, because I believe obviously the explosions have to be explained, but it wasn't as sturdy because those buildings, the specs had them being able to withstand a 737 or whatever it was. Like they were built because of planes had gone into the Empire State Building over the previous, 80 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was built to withstand an airplane impact.
Wow.
The code was.
Yeah.
So there you go.
John, rest in peace. I think it's time to ask Amy something.
All right. Amy, this isn't a great one, but here we go. I'm going to make it fast.
I love this one.
Oh, good. Dear Amy, when doing a DNA test, I discovered that my uncle, who is now 95 years old, has a son he didn't know about and has never met. This son is now about 75 and lives in another state.
I love that.
Our whole family knows about our uncle's son because of you, but we are hesitant. And by the way, now everyone who reads Ask Amy knows, but we are hesitant to inform him. He and my aunt have a son, my cousin, and he is aware of this. Wait, what does that mean? He and my aunt have a son, and he is aware of this. I hope he's aware of his son.
Yeah, they have a natural son.
Okay, yeah, it's a little weird. But my aunt and uncle are not. Oh, the son's aware of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha, sorry. I thought he was aware of his own son. They have been happily married for years. My uncle is doing very well, but we are concerned about causing any upheaval at his age. Should we tell him about his long-lost son, or should we avoid any potential turmoil that learning about this could cause? Signed, Perplexed Relative.
All right, Uncle Dan, bad news. You're about to have a heart attack. Good news is you're a father again.
Well, the best is what you laughed at. It's like, I'm going to go tell my boy. He's my boy. He's fucking 75, probably with Jell-O all over his chest in some nursing home. My boy.
Yeah, have a quick reunion.
It's not Field of Dreams. Like, can we play catch?
Yeah, they're at the funeral for the guy, and it's like, hey, do you have any old photos of you and your dad? I have the one from last week. That pretty much is my trip down memory lane.
I have a photo of my first memory with my father. Do you want to see that? Sure. It's when he came to my hospital bed after my second hip surgery.
So she wants to know whether or not they should tell the guy. What's the upside? First of all, you have so much information at 95 that you can't access anymore. Your brain is like a photo album that you don't have the key to anymore. Why give more information?
You know, it would be a great story if they decided to reveal it and they then learned that he was very much in touch with that son and had been his whole life and paid for his college, sent the wedding gifts, did everything, but he didn't want his, I'm going to tear up, and he didn't want his wife's feelings to be hurt. And so he never, or his own son that he raised. And so he kept that a secret, but they would meet a couple of times a year, maybe even once a year.
Yeah.
And they had actually a very good relationship.
Yeah. Well, you know, we have a dear friend who, their brother, turns out has a daughter that none of them knew about. The brother knew about the daughter, and she grew up with a single mom, no brothers and sisters, a kind of a lonely childhood, and now she's in college, and then through Ancestry DNA, the siblings put it together. Approached the brother, go like, what the fuck? Why have you? And like there was child support payments not made and all this shit. And so his siblings are all bullshitting him, and they've all become friends with the girl.
Right. We met her.
Yeah, we met her. She's great.
She's really cool.
Yeah.
I was always waiting for my parents to sit me down and break the news to me that I was adopted. I was always wanting that to happen. Instead, they did the opposite. I was like in high school and they sat me down and like, listen, we kind of know where your head's at. We just want to confirm again, we are your biological parents. No!
This is going to be hard for you because it's a roadmap for what your future is, which is us, but you really are ours.
You see this rosacea, Mike? It's coming your way.
Right. You know how I'm drunk right now and I just hit you? That's going to be you.
You know I had open heart, right? When I was 60 years old. How old are you? Yeah, that's coming your way.
Remember me and Mom's horrible divorce?
Yeah.
That's about 2017 for you, Mike.
Also, I guess we don't have to explain this. We're not so bright. So you got that too.
All right, couple letters from the editor. Letters to the editor. This comes in from, oh, look at this. Woman named Joanne says, I seem to have a crush on you two.
Wait, who?
Joanne, one word.
What? No last name. Well, that's
No
so
last
nice.
name. Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
haven't read
That's-
this before, have I? Because I repeat stories
It
sometimes.
sounds familiar. I don't think you had.
Okay.
You do repeat a lot of stories.
Yeah.
I think I'd remember that one.
When's
That's
the
so
last time
flattering.
when's the last time someone had a crush on you? Not like you met them on Tinder or whatever, but like unsolicited, found out they had a crush on you.
I'd have to say it was a long, never.
Oh, come on. Don't be hard on yourself.
I don't know. College? No. Well,
Oh, I know somebody. I know somebody who had a crush on you recently.
I doubt that.
I can't tell you, but no, absolutely 100% true.
Really?
Yep.
Female?
Yep.
Well,
This one,
my wife, we both worked, my ex-wife,
yeah.
we both worked at HBO.
Yeah.
That was a rather organic one.
Right.
We found out, and it was a company policy, no dating.
Yep.
So anyway,
That's nice. What better feeling is there than that? When I was in college, they interviewed me for the school newspaper, the Daily Free Press. And it was one of those stupid things where you put like 4 people's pictures and you ask them a question like, you know, what's your favorite food at the cafeteria? And they all did different answers. So a girl, I was like a junior. Yeah, I was a junior. And this girl who was a freshman saw my picture, and I guess you could track people down. There was a student like registry where you could
wait,
get
hold-
people's phone numbers.
do you know what it was called?
What?
Facebook.
Was it Facebook then? Really?
No. That's this monster technology that's ruining the world. Is named after colleges would have. Remember the Facebooks?
Oh.
It was literally called.
It was a printed Facebook.
a printed Facebook.
Right.
And
right.
if you see the social network, you see he actually was dating a girl at BU.
right.
And he came across, and they were out. That's the beginning of the movie. And Harvard had a Facebook, BU had a Facebook, all these colleges.
yeah.
Because I remember getting called, similar story to yours, I guess. Didn't take it seriously. So they're like, what do you do, or your hobbies? I said like raising llamas, or I said some joke, but I would get like giggling girls calling. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, I was like, where are you guys? And they would hang up.
Right.
So what was
this
yours?
This one girl calls me, and I didn't know what the hell she looked like, but she said, "Oh, I just saw your picture. You seem really cute. I like what you said. Love to meet." And I was like, sure. I go, my neighbor in my apartment is having he invited me to his apartment for a party, and I didn't even fucking know this guy. He just like randomly invites me. So I tell her to meet me at the party. She shows up. She's cute as hell. And we go into the party, and it is the most homosexual event that's ever been put together in Boston. It's all dudes, shirts off. They're playing fucking Wham, licking fucking cherries off each other's bellies. It was crazy. And we were having such a blast. We were the only ones there that were straight. And we were dancing and whatever. And then we went back to my apartment, took a shower, made beautiful love,
Wow.
and I never saw her again in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
What's so funny is you want her to hear this and get in touch with you. Meanwhile, she's a disgusting 53-year-old. But
Unlike me.
you still think of her. That's what I mean. That's my point. You still think of her as 19.
Yeah. I know. We got this one from Jennifer Kraut. Mike talked about 10-cent beer night getting out of control. This was a story we did about the, was it the Chicago Cubs?
Oh, good Lord, the Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland Indians. Getting out of control. Wanted to let you know of another crazy Cleveland event, Balloon Fest 86. They released 1.5 million balloons to break a world record. Not only did this fuck up the city and aviation around the city, but 2 people drowned because the Coast Guard service was interrupted. Here's the Wikipedia link. All true. I looked it up.
Well, someone should call Vietnam because they're about to blow up 345,000 used condoms
Right.
and launch those.
Yeah. Speaking of Cleveland, I'm going there.
The mistake
I totally
on the lake.
Totally forgot that I have a date to play one of my favorite clubs in the country, the Hilarities at the Pickwick and Frolic Restaurant. If you want to go check it out, October 8th through 10th, I'll be performing. Tickets available at fitzdog.com or go to their website. And looking forward to seeing you in a safe, distant way.
So
I will be distant on stage.
You're flying, huh?
I just read a study about flying because I've been researching this. There's only been like a handful of cases of people contracting the virus while flying.
I do know that, but because I'm considering going back east. My girls want to go back east.
For Christmas?
See the grandparents. No, it would be mid-October.
Yeah.
See the grandparents and all that. If anyone wants to write in, if they know what they're talking about, from what I hear, I guess you get tested before you get on the plane. You get there, you quarantine 5 days and maybe get a rapid test on the 5th day. Because here's what I'm up against. My dad, who's 80 and has, had that open heart surgery, all the shit I'm going to get because he's my goddamn biological father. It's a death sentence, apparently. If you have a weak heart, which he does, he's even in AFib very often, the coronavirus could very well be a death sentence. So I know the wisdom would be don't go near him, no matter, just don't go back east. But if I did go back east, what would be the most prudent way to do it? I do hear, though, if someone has it on the plane, we did this story last week. If someone has it on the plane and they're near you, you're going to get it. I read a good article, by the way. Don't do this. Your mask has to be on the whole time. People abuse it because you can eat and drink clearly without your mask. People take off their masks for the whole meal service and maybe extend it a little because it is a pain to have it on for 6 hours if it's a flight to New York. And they're like, don't do this, which is exactly what I would have done. Don't go into the bathroom for a mask break. Yeah. Because the heavy odds are the guy right before you and before him did the exact same thing.
And people going into the bathroom are the ones that are sick. No, that's what I've heard. Is
masturbating.
Right.
Even sicker.
With my forehead against that fucking inclined wall.
Such an image.
No, they say avoid the bathroom at all costs. That's where you're going to get it. All right, Mike, we hit an hour and 40 minutes and we haven't done the funnies yet. Let's get to the funnies.
Yeah.
No obituary this week. Nobody big enough to get on our radar died.
Right. Insert jokes about what died this week, but go ahead.
Well, plus we're also kind of getting over our RGB. That was such a big one. It'd be tough to be the death that follows that the next week.
That's the Farrah Fawcett syndrome. She died the same day as Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. Here's the funnies. We got a letter from Gina Silva who said, I like watching old movies and was scrolling through some of them online to watch when an old Blondie movie popped up. I remember watching these as a kid, and when I saw it, I thought of you. And let me tell you something, Gina Silva. I will never watch a Blondie movie because I exist. It's almost like if I really believe in God, I'm not watching Charlton Heston in the 10 Commandments. I don't want to see it. The image that I hold of this majestic heavenly creature can't be matched by some fucking actress who auditioned for it. Forget it.
Here comes the correction next week. Greg, Charlton Heston played Moses, not God.
I didn't say he played God.
I thought it was ruining your
I
image
said
of
if
God.
well, I guess so, yeah. I mean, I guess it's why the Muslims say you can't make a picture of Allah.
You just
Allah.
prefer masturbating to your image of Moses and not Charlton Heston's?
Yeah, part that Red Sea, baby. Part it.
Oh, those 2 tablets.
Yeah.
God.
All right, so let's get to Andy Capp. You know Andy, good husband, solid citizen. Always has a fucking cigarette dangling from his lip. And he's holding up his coat for his wife. He says, "Come on, kid, let's go and have a few and forget about things."
What a gentleman. He's holding her coat.
So now they're walking along and you see her. She breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera and winks, and then says to Andy, "This'll put you in stitches, pet. I forgot me purse for a start." She tells him she forgot her purse on the way to the
Right.
bar. He turns around and grabs her by the lapels and starts shaking her back and forth. And she starts screaming, "I was only kidding. I was only kidding."
Again with the Irish accent.
Why? Why would you antagonize this alcoholic, abusive husband? Wouldn't you know not to kid about getting in the way of him and his alcohol?
She's also holding a giant purse
Right.
the whole time. I think he saw it, but just blew through that red light and just decided to strangle her, basically.
For fucking with him, for trying to fuck with him.
Yeah.
You got to send a message.
Kind of backfired. Her little wink at us.
Yeah.
Like,
little
watch
bit.
this.
Yeah. She's not winking now.
Quick story, which reminds me of that. First met the Step family when I was in 6th grade. Jeff and Jenny are my stepbrother and stepsister, and they're awesome. They put us in this tennis, maybe it was this tennis group, a lesson type family thing to bond and everything. So Jeff hardly knows me. Jenny's in front of him. Jeff turns to me and goes, "Watch this." And he takes he takes his tennis handle and he lifts up her tennis skirt, and she turns around, doesn't even think, and smashes him with her racket, hits his arm. So she screams like, "Ah!" Turns around, smashes him, and Jeff's like, "Fuck!" And meanwhile, every tennis court is staring. Then Jenny, my sister, runs off back to her place, and then Jeff can't play because his arm is hurt so much, and he leaves. And this was supposed to get us with these strangers who are my new stepbrother and stepsister bonding. That literally happened. But it reminds me of that, like, watch this.
That actually is bonding. You know, anybody can go on a court and be polite to each other. What have you really learned?
We still tell the story, yeah.
Now, another great husband, a guy that I like to call Hager.
Yeah.
Hager's with his wife and his daughter. His daughter's kind of a sweet hottie, and she's got little metal cups on her tits. They're like B cups, but they're cute. And so she says to the mother, "When did you realize you were going to marry daddy?" And then Helga says, "When he invaded my village and drove away every eligible man." Like, slaughtered her friends, the boys she grew up with. And then he puts his arms around her and goes, "Is that romantic or what?"
That's sweet.
Yeah. You know,
That's a sweet story.
I think it's Darwinism. You come in and you annihilate your competition.
Yeah, it's like the silverback gorilla. Like, if his time is up and there's a new guy in town, he crawls up slowly to the place where he was born and just dies in the forest,
Yeah.
dies in the jungle.
Right. You know, you never see dead pigeons. And I read this, that pigeons, if they're dying, go and they hide. They'll like bury themselves for some reason.
In a magician's hat.
Ah, that's how they get them. Now let's get to your favorite, Family Circus.
You know what? I'm oddly positive this week about it. We have a family circus. I've never seen this before. It's 2 panels. I mean, might they be listening to us? And
You mean like a
it's
setup and a
circle.
punchline instead of just a setup?
Right. So not only is it 2 panels, but there is a setup and a punchline.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly rare, isn't even the right word. I've never seen it. So it's a circle and it's split down the center from north to south, semicircle. On the left is the kid dressed as a pretend doctor. And he's like, "Hi, Daddy, anything you want taken out?" Now that would be the normal family circus.
Right.
What he did was, how would a kid say the darndest thing a doctor would say?
Mhm.
And then the dad is there and he's like, "Yes, the trash."
Yeah.
So there was actually an attempt at a punchline.
An attempt? What are you talking about? That's a punchline. I'm gonna take you to task on this one, Mike. This is goddamn funny for the Sunday funnies. For kids, that's a good joke.
It looks like he's pointing to himself though, but I guess he's like pointing to like the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes, the trash, but like maybe he's had it.
Well, Jeff Keane has been writing these fucking strips and he's had it. He's no longer the likable Jeff Keane. He's the guy that's like, you know, the first of all, the son's face, he's crushed. It's
Yeah.
a full-on frown. This is not a feel-good cartoon.
No, this is the kid got a comeuppance. Yeah, he got really put in his place.
This is like Jeff Keane not knowing his audience. His audience are morons, and they're not going to like this. I bet you. You know what? Go back and look this up because you know there's always comments in the if you go online and you find. Did you find
Oh,
this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's always comments underneath it. I bet you there was a huge backlash on this one.
Like, whoa, a multi-level piece
Yeah.
of art that is not one-dimensional. My
Right.
head hurts.
Yeah. What are you, Blondie? All right.
Yep.
Speaking of which,
All right.
here she is, my girl, doing what she does best, fucking serving that piece of garbage Dagwood. Dagwood's sitting at the kitchen table. Now, first of all, it's always he's sitting and she's serving. How the fuck does this? Now, normally, I get that. This thing was made back in the 50s, but not when it's a hot piece of ass like this. She's got on a black velvet skirt. I've seen it before. Always like seeing it. And she's got on a white top with
I've
kind
seen
of
her wear that before.
with kind of black cuffs on the edges of the sleeves. The hair is done. What do we need to say about that hair? I mean, she makes Elizabeth, what's her name, puts her to shame. Dagwood looks at her. Now, keep in mind, he has no business even talking to this woman, never mind being married to her. He says, "Honey, this coffee is a little weak today." And she says, "No, it isn't, dear. It's exactly the way you've always liked it." And then she turns and walks away. Dagwood looks at us and says, "I learn a little bit more about myself every day." Yeah? Why don't you learn this, Dagwood? You don't have a fucking leg to stand on. If she is serving you coffee, you should be drinking diarrhea out of that cup if she serves it to you. It's
Strong.
weak. It's weak. Your coffee's weak. No, you're fucking weak.
Strong diarrhea. That's what she should serve.
Strong diarrhea. Right. You'll notice, Dagwood, there's kernels of corn at the top of that fucking cup. Gobble those down too, you piece of shit.
I bet if she was in human form and she served you a cup of coffee that had a little of her feces in it, including your go-to corn nuggets, corn kernels in there, I bet you could drink it.
Hot. I would drink it scalding hot. I couldn't wait to get it down my gullet. I would be the guy that sniffs the seat that she gets up off of after she leaves the room.
Well, apparently, if you believe Instagram and everything, this whole everybody's eating ass. So I don't think it's that much
Yeah.
of a stretch.
Yeah, I hear people are eating ass. Eating ass.
Oh shit, my recorder died.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
So this is what's going to happen. Poor St. Louis. My voice probably sounds different now, but I think it just died.
Yeah.
It definitely made it to over an hour 40. So
Okay.
we basically shouldn't talk anymore, but we've probably switched over to my shitty audio from the Zoom.
All right, let's wrap it up. Folks, Thanks for listening. And as you know, we're on a short hiatus, or perhaps the end of Thursday Papers. A lot of you are suggesting we do it on Patreon. We're considering that. A lot of things we're considering. As Trump would say, we're thinking a lot about it. We
have to see. We just have to see how it pans out.
But thank you for listening every week. Please go to Apple Podcasts and leave some comments. Rate us. That helps us. We were up in the ratings this week. We were up on the charts. Yeah, which was nice. Let's keep it up there. And don't forget Fitzdog Radio and Childish, my other podcast. Mike, anything you want to plug?
I had things and I forget them now.
All right. Well, you have no tape rolling anyway.
That's true.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're going to paint, take it, lay it down on the floor, tape it to the wall.
My mic's out. So yeah, do that.
Do that. We'll see you next week. Hour and 54 minutes this week. You're
Jesus.
welcome.
That's probably why my machine turned off. It's like enough.